Hello, I'm in the West Cascades of Oregon at an elevation of about 1,700 feet. It's the first week of June in 2020. I'm standing at the edge of a very lightly used forest road here and looking at a young bigleaf maple, Acer macrophyllum. Macrophyllum just means big leaf in Greek, and so we call this in English bigleaf maple. So what I want to talk about is how trees grow in the temperate zone, most trees, and in particular how old this bigleaf maple is. And so as we come up close here, we can see that in just the last few weeks, the winter bud that was right here that had been set last year, the winter bud broke, in about early to mid-April, and then it's developed this new shoot here, this terminal shoot, and then two laterals. And all that's happened, just like I say, in about the past month. Let's look at the number of leaves here. So there's 2, 4, 6, 8, and then 2 new ones that are still developing up there. So it looks like it's going to have 10 leaves. Look at the leaf orientation. Some of them are almost horizontal. Most of them, of course, we have a little breeze coming up here. Most of them are angled down a little bit, all right? Fairly sunny here for much of the day on the side of the road. So again, 10 leaves, orientation, very different one from the other. And if we zoom in up close here to the junction of the where the bud broke here in spring, we can see, get in a little closer here, we can see, there we go, we can see the little horizontal lines where the bud scales were attached, and these are called bud scale scars. And so that shows us where this year's growth began. And then if we go down farther, down the tree farther, we'll see this is 2019's growth down to here, where we have another junction with bud scale scars. Then this is 2018's growth, and it probably took 1 or 2 years to get to that point. So this tree is about my height, so about 6 feet tall. It's 4 and maybe 5 years old, okay? So again, in early spring, we have bud break, we have shoot extension, and then very shortly after, the tree starts to begins to set its bud for the following year. So by in another couple weeks, by mid-June, this tree will have its bud finished for 2021. And inside that bud will be every leaf and every flower. This tree is too young to flower, but every cell of everything that's going to develop in the following year. So the tree has planned, or it's figured out what it needs to do for next year almost a year ahead. So that bud is set, like I say, by late June at the latest here, and then the tree just photosynthesizes for the rest of the summer and sends carbohydrates, from the leaves down to the roots and so forth. And then that bud just sits still through the following dormant season, and then will break next spring, 2021. Okay, so again, almost all trees, broadleaf trees and conifers in the temperate zone grow like this. So bud break, shoot extension, bud set in a very short period of time, and then we'll be comparing another young maple tree here in a minute that's growing in a slightly different location. So, all right, so pretty amazing that all this happens so fast, and that for most of the year, the tree isn't visibly growing. It's not adding new leaves. It's maybe adding new cells around, for annual growth rings and around the trunk and around the roots. But its leaves all develop very fast in the springtime and just then settle down to photosynthesize through the summer. Great. That's a Swainson's thrush singing in the background, and that's a hermit warbler. It's their time of year, breeding season. They're defining territories and attracting mates. And that was a western tanager. Okay. All for now.